We're live. Not from New York, and it's not Saturday night. So you see that fun little skull over there? I'm going to try and get that out of the picture, though, because that might be distracting. And it certainly is a little creepy. All right, that's better. Now you just have to look at my gargoyle. All right, so here we go. Here we go over here. There we are. All right, so I got super fancy. And I actually have the other Halloween prop that I've got over here. Hang on one quick second. No, I'm not going to be able to get it in here, right? I should have done this before I went live, huh? Sorry, guys. Donna, I miss you. All right, how's that? You can see that. I feel like that's going to cut my head off. How about that? All right, Sandy. Yeah, my Zenith girls. All right, let's see where we're at. All right, I think that should be okay. Ooh, there's a weird delay. I've got a little picture in here, and I'm watching myself in like 2 seconds after the fact. It's very weird. All right, so this morning we're going to twist, right? So I hope you're up for that. A couple of things about that. I'm gonna back up a little bit. Oh, turn my light on even. I got super fancy, you guys. Ooh. Here we go. So about twists, keeping your spine tall and neutral is really, really important, right? You wouldn't want to be all smashed over and out of alignment and then try and twist at that point. So if when you do go to move your body into a twist, you feel like you can't sit tall, stop there, work on sitting tall, and then maybe work into the twist a little bit deeper, right? So you always want that length. That's really, really important. It's important anyway to have your spine aligned and in a neutral position, but certainly in twists for sure. So I've been teasing my 4-week program. I think I'm going to shove that back a little bit, and I've got that workshop on there, the applying the 4 limbs or the 8 limbs of yoga on my website. And there's a little bit of a segue between learning that information and then finding that 4-week program. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a series of classes that I will put on the website that will bridge what we do here to the workshop. So if you've had access to the workshop, if you've watched that, it'll fill in some gaps there, and then it'll take you from the workshop to the program. So again, this may or may not be something you're interested in, but maybe you'll want to, check into the little series of workshops, and I'll offer them one individually, right? Or you can get them as a package too. Because like I said, it's gonna fill in the gaps, and it's important to have that continuity. That's the word. All right, so let's head to the mat, and we'll get started here. Yeah, it's time. All right, so come to stand at the top of your mat. Make sure your feet are up underneath your hip bones. Always starting with our alignment. Any pose is worth building from the bottom up, even if the bottom is your hip. So pressing down into the 4 corners of the feet, nice and strong here. Making the legs work, using your belly. Okay? Always, always lifting the pelvic floor, lower belly in and up, standing tall through your sides. Relax into your shoulders and go ahead and close your eyes. And just take a moment. Check in with how you feel this morning. If you just rolled out of bed, your body might be a little stiff. Maybe you've been for your run already and you're nice and warm. Right? Just kind of see what's going on. And then that same idea with the breath, just check it out. How's it flowing today? Allow that breath to deepen. Becoming smooth and even. Make it just a little bit of work, a little bit of a stretch. Staying inwardly focused, connected to the breath here. With the next inhale, take your arms, stretch them up to the ceiling. And then exhale back down again. We'll do that again, inhaling up. Exhaling down. One more time. Come back to the top, inhale. When you get to the top, interlace your fingers. Exhale, take yourself over to the right. And then inhale, come on back to the middle. And exhale over to the left. Following your breath side to side like this. And just allowing the side to open up, keeping the belly engaged. Notice if you lean side to side, try to leave your lower body really stable and centered here. We're going to go one more time on each side. So let it open, get in there as deep as it's going to be for now. When you're back to center, just exhale and release the arms. Let's take the hands to the thighs, belly in, shoulders back. We're going to come over, exhaling into a half fold kind of place. Little bend into the knees, let the spine round, and then come back up to standing. So exhale as you come forward, think flat back, and then inhaling to round back up. So connected to the breath, really kind of work your spine in opposite directions here, waking up your hamstrings a bit. This next time we exhale, we're going to come over into that half fold and hold this one. So lean on your thighs if you need to lean to keep the shoulders back and the belly in here. Go ahead and bend your knees enough that your forearms will come to your thighs. And then take the right hand and sweep it up toward the ceiling. For a second, allow the body to kind of lean over to the left. And just notice how much the rest of the body works to try and bring you into this twist. So maybe don't make the twist as big, but find center on your feet. Find even through your hips. Extend out the crown of your head so your spine is long. And then we're going to release that side. And switch. Sweeping the right arm up. And again, if you feel the shift, just find center again. Let's release that side. Hang on to the thighs again here. Take your legs straight. And gently allow yourself to work into your full fold, whatever that might be. As long as the shoulders stay back, the hands can go where they go. So that may or may not be the floor. Don't worry if it's not. So from here, let's go ahead and step the right foot back into a lunge. And bring the right knee to the floor to begin. Knee stacked over ankle here, so adjust as you need to. And let's go ahead and take the left leg straight. Or straighter. Remember, you can prop here, right? Blocks, books, up on your thigh maybe. Working to keep the spine long, belly in, and the hips square. Let's bend back into the knee. Let the hips come down, extend out long. And let's take a little twist here. So left hand to the hip and rotate around. Release that twist and take the leg straight again. A little deeper into the fold, maybe just finally getting the leg straight or propping less. Bending back into the knee, letting the hips sink maybe a little lower if they will. Finding that tall spine, propping here too if you need. We're gonna bring the left hand to the inside of the foot. Right hand to the hip, and then rotate around from the belly. So twisting away from the thigh instead of toward it. Nice big breaths. Let's release that twist. Lifting the back knee, we'll step forward into our fold again. And then switch sides. So step the left foot back, lunge. Dropping the knee, aligning the feet and the knee here. Let's take the right leg straight and find the stretch here. So it may or may not look like the left leg. See what happens. Bending back to the knee, sink low. We'll add in the twist, bringing the right hand to the hip again, starting by rotating toward the thigh. And then releasing that, take the leg straight again and work a little deeper into the hamstring. One more time, bend into the knee, come forward. Find that space in the spine and let's twist to the second direction. So right hand to the inside of the foot here, using the arm and leg for stability, propping if you need. Left hand to the hip and rotate away. Keep the hips descending, extending out the crown of your head. And then release the twist. Lifting the back knee. Instead of stepping forward here, let's step back down to up. Let yourself wiggle. And then allow yourself to sink in here. So pressing into the four corners of the hand, push away from the floor. Find the space in your spine using your arms. Sink the heels, press the chest back a bit. Head hanging between the arms, not hanging above if you can help it, and not hanging below. Watch your shoulders. So we really want to press down like crazy into the right hand. If you're a little slippery or you don't feel aligned here, you may want to readjust or wipe your hand up on your pants. or your towel or whatever you got, right? Round that hand into the floor. Trust me here. Bend the right knee and take the left hand to the outside of the right leg. You might be touching your thigh, you might be down to your calf. You can reach your ankle, reach your ankle. See what happens. And then maybe take the leg straight. Being pulled up and under this right arm, sinking into the right heel. And then release it. So the same idea to the second side. Again, make sure you're feeling comfortable on that left hand. Right? If you need to wipe off the sweat, wipe it off. Go ahead and bend the left knee and let the right hand reach for the outside of the leg, wherever again that you can reach. Take the leg straight if you haven't already. And then we'll release that. Let's go ahead and slide forward, come to plank. Holding here, dropping down to your knees if you need to. Extend long through the crown of your head. And then gently bring yourself down to your belly, everything together. Elbows tight. Once you're there, just slide your hands back a little bit. We're gonna work into our shoulders. So on the inhale, let's pull the shoulders up by the ears, together on your back, down toward your hip bones. Exhaling to release that. So just an easy little shoulder roll. See how big those shoulder circles can get. Let's go once more like that. And then just release to the mat. Keeping the elbows hugged in, we're gonna add on to that, of course, here. So let's roll the shoulders. We're gonna pull with the hands. Lengthen through your spine here. Maybe press into the hands, come a little higher. Squeeze your elbows into your waist. Keep the shoulders back. Breathe here. And then release back down. Everything up off the floor together. We're gonna make our way into a kneeling plank and then all the way back into a child's pose. Take your time there. Let the arms stretch out really long here. Walk the fingers away from the shoulders. Still keeping the hands roughly shoulder width apart. Coming up on the pads of the fingers, see about drawing your shoulder blades together on your back and then inch your fingers a teeny bit further away. Keep that stretch and reground the four corners of the hands. And maybe take that stretch even deeper. See if you can keep that length. Let's lift back to our down dog. Walk the feet to the hands, come into standing fold again. Feet up underneath the hip bones to begin. Bend into the knees if you need. Index and middle fingers are going to wrap around the big toes. So you can take your legs straight or not. Bend the elbows out to the sides either way. Trying to pull the shoulders together on the back and create that more neutral spine. You can tug on your toes a little bit and draw into a deeper stretch maybe. And then we'll release the toes. Little bend in the knees here if you like, certainly. If you're a hyperextender, if your legs will actually kind of almost go backward, like you lock your knees, and a little bend. Yeah. From here, taking the fingers to the lower back, Interlace. Draw your shoulder blades together on your back. Feel the chest open, feel the front of your shoulders stretch, and then take the hands away from the shoulders, and that may mean straight down the back. You may be able to extend your fingertips toward the ceiling, but remember it's the shoulders. So you don't want the shoulders collapsing in towards your neck or your ears just to reach the hands away. Same idea with your elbows here. If you're a hyperextender in your knees, you might do it in your elbows too. So that baby bend. And then we'll release the hands, take them back down to the mat. Let's take the feet a little wider. So just outside of the shoulders or so, we're gonna have the toes pointing forward still here. You can move sideways on your mat if you prefer. At any point, you want your feet all on or all off the mat. So you wouldn't wanna be half and half. So get loose, right? Maybe ragdollish, little bend in the knees if you like. Take the hands and walk them over to the right. And just like when we twisted in that little half fold, notice how the body sort of shifts. Come on back to center. Take the second side. And there's no magic to where the hands go. Just feel a nice hamstring stretch here. Again, kind of watching how the body will shift and help. Come on back to center. And take the feet a step wider. So we don't want to be in a really crazy straddle, maybe just yet. We're going to find the middle here. And instead of being a ragdoll, we want to work the opposite of that. So push down into the four corners of the feet. Legs are straight. Again, if you need to prop up on something, certainly prop up, right? Or you can just have your hands maybe on your shins even. Thighs if you need. So we're going to keep the bottom half of the body doing what it's doing and take the hands over to the right again. So the floor, the foot, the shin, the block, whatever you need. Back through the center, over to the left. Same idea, keep the lower body neutral. And then back to the middle. And we'll take the feet a step wider. So remember, you go to where your body is comfortable with going. Right? And the goal is not to be ridiculously wide. Right? The goal maybe is to have the feet wide enough so that when you fold forward, the top of your head sets in this place between your feet. That may or may not be anywhere near reality for you. But so again, just so you know that the goal here is not necessarily to be super wide. So let's take the fingers, or the hands really, straight down from the shoulders. It may not be the deepest part of your fold for sure here. We're going to take the left hand right underneath the face. So it's kind of in the middle. It's probably in front of your feet. Your spine can be tall and neutral here. The lower body is going to do exactly what it's doing. Even on the feet, square through the hips. Pull the belly in, extend out through the crown of your head. And just bring your right hand to your hip. Keeping that hip down, allow the belly to rotate around. Extending out the crown of your head. Don't worry about how deep the twist is. People get really excited about stretching the arm up toward the ceiling, and then so that they reach straight up, the hips go haywire, right? Don't worry about that. You don't have to reach straight up toward the ceiling. Let's release that. Switching sides. So the right hand in the middle, the left hand to the hip. Leave your lower body stable and centered, and just gently open up the side. Let's release that and come back to center. Bring the feet up underneath the hip bones here. Take the hands up to the thighs, press away, come parallel to the floor. Take a second here. If your head's been hanging down for a little while, you might want to take an extra breath or two. And then we're going to hinge, standing all the way up again. So let's go ahead and take a nice big step back with the right foot. We're gonna straddle here. So upright, for now anyway. And turn your toes out kind of toward the corners of your mat. And you'll know if this is the precise place for your feet when you bend your knees. If you can see your knees, your toes beyond your knees, pointing in the same direction, that's where your feet should be. Sometimes they fall in, keep them in the same direction. You might just need to turn your toes in. So play with that. Once you have the proper place, extend or take the legs straight, lift the arms, right? So the body's like kind of like an X. And then connect to your breath. Exhale, bend your elbows and knees. And then inhale, come back up again. So just up and down like that with the upper body. You can work deeper into the legs, certainly. Try not to let your bones stick out behind you, though, as you come down. Even through the feet. And you can work isometrically, imagining you're pulling down weights. I like to imagine moving through drying cement. That would be a bad thing, though, wouldn't it? So the next squat we're going to hold. Make sure you still see your toes. If you need to make adjustments, certainly do. Belly's pulled in, shoulders are back here. The arms can extend out to the sides. And you can stay upright, but maybe see about coming forward. Bring your shoulders, head in line with your hips and knees-ish. Stress through your fingertips. And then we're going to hinge back up again. Inhale, stretch to the ceiling. And then release the arms and step back to the top of the mat. All right. So let's go ahead and step a short step back with the right foot. So working into warrior one, check out your toes. All 10 toes point forward. And the feet are maybe a little wider sideways if you're feeling a little wobbly. You can open them forward and back as long as you can bend into the left knee and keep your right heel on the floor. So play with it. Bringing the hands to the hips, keeping the hips square. And then if and when you're ready, go ahead and extend the arms toward the ceiling. You can look up or not. Sometimes it just makes it too wobbly. Listen to what your body needs from you. And then let's open it up into warrior two. So let your right toes point out to the side a bit, bringing your left hand forward and your right hand back. You can probably take your feet wider, right? Check in, make sure your feet are where you want them to be. You can see your big toe beyond your knee. Always making the adjustments. Let's bend the left arm. Rest the forearm on the thigh. Take the right arm up and underneath here. Stretch through your fingertips. Open the front of the body. Feel like you're opening it toward the ceiling. Keeping the knee pointing forward, feeling stable and even on your feet. And then we're going to release it over into a lunge. So let's drop down to the back knee and maybe keep your toes tucked under. Maybe. So we're going to take the left hand to the inside of the foot again. And we're essentially going to be doing that same twist that we did earlier. It might get a little bit more complicated. See what happens. So it's just starting with the right hand at the hip, rotating the belly away. If you press more into your left arm, and draw the right shoulder back, you get a bigger twist, right? You can keep that. See about taking the right hand behind the back and imagine reaching for the outside of your left hip. Okay? And then let this happen for a second. Take your left hand underneath your left thigh. Okay? My hips back up a little bit here. It's fine for a moment. See if you can find your right hand. Maybe yes, maybe no. So you just don't want to be at the crotch, right? Right in the crack there. You want to be to the outside of the hip. Let your hips come low again. And just like before, it's easier if your belly is kind of pointing toward the floor. See if you can rotate it toward the ceiling. And then just for fun, what would happen if you lifted your right knee? You can drop your right heel, of course. Extend out the crown of your head. Take one more breath wherever you are. And then release all of that. Step back, down dog. Slide into plank. Take knees if you want, down to the belly. Little roll for a child's pose, for a cobra. Now you know where we're going. Up and back into child's pose. So we're going to make our way back into down dog. And from there, walk the feet forward into fold. How about a little bend into the knees here? With an inhale, roll your spine all the way back up again. And we'll work the second side. So that short little step back with the left. And figure out where you want your feet to be. When you're ready, bending into the right knee. Keeping the back heel on the mat. Squaring the body and extending the arms if and when you're ready. Make sure you're breathing here. And then we'll open into our warrior two. Take your time transitioning. Take the time to adjust where your feet go. And then bending the right arm, bring the left arm up and over, stretch long, and see if you can sink into your hips. Lean on this leg if you really need to, but otherwise use the upper body and the legs to hold your upper body up instead of the arm. Again here, imagine your belly rotating toward the ceiling. And then let's release that, come over to your lunge, and drop the back knee. So let's do it. Bring the right hand to the inside, glue the arm and leg together here, and just simply bring the left hand to the hip and rotate. Pressing into the leg a little bit more, pulling the shoulder back more, if that's you. See about snaking the left hand behind, reaching for the outside of the right hip edge. And this can be it, right? You push and you pull, and you rotate around. If you want to play though, see what happens. You're alone, no one can see you, right? Take the right hand up under the thigh, reach around, and maybe find your fingers over there. So the hips might have dropped back and your chest might have fallen forward. Drop into the hips And in your head anyway, rotate your belly toward the ceiling again. Extending long. If you want to lift the back knee away from the floor, give that a go. Take one more breath. Release it all. Come back to lunge. And step back to your down dog. Let's shift forward, plank. Knees, if you'd like, to the belly. Nice little roll into your cobra. And then back into our child's pose again. All right, so let's lift back to our down dog. And then walk into our standing fold. Here, take your feet a little wider than hip. And we're gonna play with that bind again. So you still may or may not be able to touch your fingers. Don't panic about it, it doesn't matter. We're gonna see where it'll take us. So let's go ahead and you can bend the knees as much as you want here. Let's take the right hand between the feet and reach back. You're gonna, again, bend your knees as much as you need. I like to come up on my toes here. Maybe that'll help you as well. Take the right hand to the outside of the right hip. Left hand is gonna sneak behind the back. And maybe you can find fingers. Wiggle around and get in there. It doesn't matter if you don't find them. But if you don't find them, the rest is a little challenging. So hang on. And you're up on the toes already, right? Look forward. Make sure your belly's pulled in. And see if you can stand up. Don't overthink this. You know how to stand up. Hang on. And this right leg just comes with you. Whee! Take it back over into the fold. Release whatever you got. Maybe wiggle, shift a little bit. And we'll go to the second side. So see what happens over here. Again, if you don't stand up, it's not the end of the universe, right? So, taking the left hand between, reaching kind of behind back there, up and over the outside of the left hip. And then the right hand tries to find the left. So wiggle. See what happens. If you can find fingers, lovely. Again, if you're in the middle of the body, the rest doesn't work. So you really want to be at the outside of the hip. Up on the left toes if you're not already. And then stand up. Again, there's really, if you stand up, the leg comes along. One more breath. And then release what you got. And maybe hang for a second. Let's step back into our down dog again. Drop on down to the knees and give yourself another child's pose. You certainly earned it. One more breath. Let's come into all fours from there. So we're going to take the left hand, palm up and leave it underneath here, dropping down to your forearm. You can Continue to reach out to the right here and maybe drop down to the shoulder. So wherever you are, like we said earlier, make sure that your spine feels long. If you feel like you're all smashed up next to your knees, reach out a little bit with your body. If you're reaching so far forward that you're leaning on your head, find the center, right? So your hips are over your knees, and your spine feels long and neutral. And that's a good little twist, and there's certainly nothing wrong with that. But if you simply press into your arms, you can feel a little bit more intensity. So pressing down into your left arm, pressing down into your right fingertips. You'll kind of feel your belly move around, right? In your head anyway, imagine stacking your right shoulder on top of your left. The shoulders are open, the chest is really open, right? Spine is long. So you take that as deep as you want. Maybe again here, you can take the right hand behind your back and reach for the outside of your left hip. And you just wiggle it around in there. And maybe you can wiggle it so far around that you can hook your fingers in front of your left thigh. Maybe yes, maybe no, maybe you can come crazy, right? So keep where your body wants to be. And if you want to play a little bit, you can step your right foot back, lifting the knee, and then maybe lifting the toes. So tons of places to be there, lots of options to add or not to add. Feel long through your spine, feel comfortable with your balance, make sure your belly is working. Take one more breath. And then release that back to hands and knees. Ready for the second time? And it may be nothing like the first side. See what happens here. Right hand's gonna weave under. Again, maybe just your elbow, maybe all the way down to your shoulder. Play with it, see where your body feels best. It's not about the depth. It's about what part of this is right for your body. You're breathing here, you're just pressing maybe a little deeper into your arms to deepen the sensation. You can take the left hand behind the back, reaching around toward the top of the front, maybe of the right thigh, sorry. And then adding in the balance piece if and when you're ready for that. One more breath. And gently release, and sometimes it's super graceful and sometimes it is not. So back into that all fours again. Nice and easy here, take a child's pose. And we'll come to sit up on the heels. We're gonna work into camel here. So we're gonna be on the tops of the knees, so if you need a little extra cushion, blanket, or just doubling up your mat, if you have something other than hard floors, you might not need it. So, tops of the feet can be flat to the floor or tucked under. You want your knees and hips in alignment. So if you feel your body leaning back, bring it up again. Keep the tailbone tucked under without shoving the pelvis forward. Nice and long with the lower back. So the arms, tons of options with the arms. You can interlace your fingers. You can almost interlace your fingers. You can take your arms out or maybe extending toward the ceiling. Tons of options. Keep the tailbone tucked under. Draw your shoulder blades together on your back. And then lifting your sternum up toward the ceiling, make your way into your variation. And you can play. Again, if you want to change where your arms are, you can add extra body weight here. You can reach back for your heels, again, as long as you're not just leaning your hips back. Keep the back of the neck just as long as your lower back. Let's take one more breath. With an inhale, make your way back up to neutral. And And then just gently sit back on your hips again. Heels, sit back on your heels. And then from here, fix your mat if you need. Gently make your way into a down dog. Let yourself just move and stretch on the way there. We'll drop down to the knees and let's bring the legs around front. So coming to the seated position, extend the legs out long. Feet are flexed. Make sure you're upright on your pelvis, so taking your inner thigh rotation. Belly in. We're going to lift the arms up toward the ceiling, and let's fold forward. And let your hands fall. You may or may not touch your toes. Just lengthen through your spine. The hamstrings should feel pretty open by now. Or as open as your hamstrings get. So then here, whatever it takes, maybe bending the knee, grab onto your right foot. So if it can be straight, it can be straight. If it can't, it can't. Belly in, elbows out so the shoulders stay back and we're not rounding here. Let's go ahead and lift the right leg away from the floor. Right, so if you hang on and lean back, it comes, right? So lifting the toes a little higher, maybe bending the elbows out more. Think nose to toes. A lot of times you'll hear nose to knee, but look what that does to my back. See if you can take the left hand to the outside of the right foot. We want to keep this foot pointing forward. It may not be up so much, it may be down a little bit more, whatever, but forward. Release your right hand and reach behind. Press through your right foot. Extend out the crown of your head and reach the fingertips back. Feel the extension. Take one more breath. And then come back to center, hang onto the foot, both hands again. Gently bring the leg down. And then to the second side, right? So bending the knee if you need to bend the knee, absolutely. Use your belly, keep your shoulders back, and lift. Hold here for a moment. Elbows out, spine is tall. And then let's add that little baby twist in. Right hand to the outside of the foot stays pointing forward, and we take the left hand back. Push through the leg. Extend out the crown of your head, reaching back. And then we'll release it. Come back to center and release the leg. Nice and gentle here. Let's inhale, bring the upper body back up. And then release the arms. So let's take our feet flat to the floor. Scoot forward on your mat because we'll be going down momentarily. Hang on to your hamstrings. Lift your chest here and maybe just lift your toes. So holding here, coming center, extending the legs, hanging on or not. And then bend at your knees again if they're straight. Bring the soles of the feet together. Hang on to your ankles. Pull the heels in. Let the knees fall open to the sides. Lift through the chest. Let the spine C-curve and roll on down to your back. So the soles of the feet are going to stay together. We're going to bring them to the floor. Let the knees rest out to the sides. And then bring the knees back together. Gently drawing the knees into the chest. Let yourself rock a little bit here. Let the knees come close to the chest. And then take the shins vertical and reach up and grab for the soles of your feet. So remember, you can use a strap here. If you need, you can hang onto the backs of your thighs if that's more accessible. Right? So the idea is to bring the thighs down with the shins vertical. So however that has to work. And you may notice that your bottom rolls up off the floor a little bit. Let yourself just kind of wiggle around into it. So maybe rolling up, maybe rolling back down, maybe shifting side to side. See if you can rock to the one side and bring your knee to touch the floor. And then the other. You might have to use a little bit of momentum with that, but play. One of the good things about practicing by yourself in your house is that no one can see you be silly. No one can see you fall down, right? And then come center. Pull down evenly on the feet, drawn down. And instead of hanging onto the soles of the feet, take your index and middle fingers and reach for your big toes. See about taking the legs straighter. So maybe not straight. Let them be as wide as they'll be. And it can be tempting to, instead of hanging onto the big toes, to support the outsides of the legs. If you feel like the legs will fall to the sides and tear something up in the middle, then sure, right? But don't necessarily be super attached to the legs being straight. Hang on and just see where they go. Same idea as when the knees are bent. Maybe wiggle around. Let your bottom roll up and then back down. Rock side to side. Maybe you can get your pinky toes to touch the floor. And then come center. Try to release into that inner hip as much as you can. The tendency of the body is to think, uh-oh, and start to squeeze tighter. See if you can release. Let's bring the legs together, releasing your toes. So taking the legs straight. We're going to keep them together. We're going to keep them straight. And extend the arms out to the sides. So I like palms face down here. You may or may not. We want to make sure that the feet stay over the hips. So if you find that your feet are drifting down more toward the bottom of your mat, simply bend at your knees. Right? We don't want to tax the lower back here. We want to use the obliques. So keep that. And then work with your breath here. Gently take your legs together, straight over to the left. And then back to the middle. And over to the right. So just as slow and controlled as you can, you're going to find a point where you fall to the floor if you let go any further. So just find where that is and work with that. The muscles are working like crazy. Go one more time, side to side. And then we're going to head back over to the left again. This time, legs straight together all the way to the floor. So at some point, they're going to kind of crash down Sort of. Let them just relax to the side. So you can rest them, the knees can bend, one leg is a little straighter than the other, whatever, it's fine. See if you can relax your right shoulder back. You can look over your right shoulder if you want. Or you can keep your legs really firm and extending through the heels. Maybe actually finding the toes with your left hand. So lots of places to be. We've done tons of twists today, so take what's right for you. And your knees may need to bend. Not just relaxing bend, but bend. And again here, if you do feel like your knees need to bend before we come up, then certainly let them bend. We're gonna come back up to the center. And if you feel a little crooked, make sure you're feeling aligned first. And then slowly take the legs to the right. And again, at some point, they just fall to the floor. Let the legs extend, maybe allow them to release a little bit if that's you. See if you can drop back into your left shoulder. Take another nice big breath. And then we'll make our way back up to the center again, bending at the knees if you need. Bending the knees into the chest and rocking a little bit here. Squeeze the knees in, pull your forehead toward the knees. And then give yourself a full body stretch. Releasing that stretch, let your arms come back down by your sides. Find Shavasana, whatever that's going to look like today. Release the muscles. And release control of your breath. And use whatever little tricks that you need here to keep the mind present. Focusing on how the body's feeling against the mat. Or you just being simple, or taking simple observation of the breath. Whatever you need to keep your mind present, quiet. Begin to draw the breath a little bit deeper. Starting small, allow the body to move and stretch. When you're ready, taking the feet flat. Keeping your eyes closed, your mind nice and quiet. Slowly make your way back up to seated. Bringing the palms to touch. Bowing to the light within. Namaste. Happy Saturday, you guys. I hope you enjoyed that. Have a great day. Remember to reach out to me either here or on the website. Definitely visit the website. I'll be posting those classes soon. Hey, thanks, guys. Yeah, have a great weekend, and I love you. I miss you. Hope to see you in real life soon. Bye. Click. I can't touch the screen on this one. Here we are. All right, so I got super fancy.